Everybody loves fall. There's something wonderful about getting ready for the colder weather, feeling a change in the air, and giving thanks for a harvest of what we've been given. Almost every Thanksgiving menu has sweet potatoes on it. They're like the miniature version of autumn right there on the table. Families have different recipes and traditions, but the love and sharing is universal. I've been making this dish for years. I'm sure I'll be making it for many more. These potatoes are smooth and buttery with a perfect crumb topping, a beautiful addition to any table. I hope you'll find ways and time to celebrate the love of your family and bring something of your sweet heart to this season. I'm Jenny Randolph. Welcome to this day. We are in full Thanksgiving mode around here, and if you are planning your Thanksgiving meal right now, I have an amazing sweet potato casserole to share with you today. Also, just to let you know, the full recipes are always listed in the description box below this video, along with some other links from last year's Thanksgiving and all of those recipes. So go check them out and you'll be able to set your table absolutely beautifully. Now, you saw in the intro that we scrubbed all of our potatoes, about 5 or 6 potatoes, and they were medium sized. So not too big, not too small, about medium. I usually do it about the size of my hand. I put them in a 400-degree oven for about an hour. Now, your potatoes may take a little bit less or a little bit longer, but you want to be able to put a fork in it and make sure that it kind of goes all the way through to make sure that it's done. That's going to give you the creamiest, best outcome. So they're sitting over to the side right now, but I want to show you how to make the crumb topping. It's basically a streusel, so if you've ever done that before, you're going to know exactly what I'm doing. But let's get started doing that right now. To a mixing bowl, we want to add 1 cup of brown sugar. I like to use light brown sugar. Dark brown sugar is just a little bit too molassesy for me, if that makes any sense. I like the light brown sugar for this recipe. To the sugar, we want to add a 1/2 cup of flour. Now, you can use gluten-free flour or just a regular all-purpose flour, but it's a 1/2 cup. Give that a bit of a mix. To the flour and sugar mixture, we want to add a 1/2 stick of chilled cubed butter. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it in smaller pieces. And I've already taken my rings off because we're going to get our hands in here to make it. So add a 1/2 stick of butter. And now here comes the fun part. We're gonna start to squish the bits of butter between our hands and incorporate them in the flour and sugar mixture. This butter and sugar are gonna melt right on top and make the best crunchy, sweet, beautiful topping. It's gonna be gorgeous. I love using this crumb topping for my sweet potatoes. And if you want to make it vegan, just use a vegan butter. It's no big deal, you can do that. But one of the reasons that I like using a streusel rather than marshmallows is because traditional marshmallows aren't vegetarian. And a lot of times they don't melt quite as well as I'd like for them to, like on top of this recipe. So over the years, I've tried, you know, different things like marshmallow fluff and different varieties of marshmallows, and it just doesn't turn out the way that I want to. So I've stuck with the streusel over the years and I've never had any kind of complaints. So that's what I'm going with today. And again, the butter and the sugar, I mean, how can you go wrong? You can't go wrong. So what you can see is we have the consistency now of kind of like a coarse sand. And if you squeeze it, you can form, just like if you were making a sand castle. That's exactly what you're looking for. That's the consistency that we want. And we don't want any big globs of butter. We want it really incorporated. So if you find a glob of butter, pick it up, rub it between your fingers. And there we have it. All right. Now I like to add a 1/4 cup of oats. And again, if you're gluten-free, just make sure they're gluten-free oats. Not all oats are gluten-free. and then 1 cup of chopped pecans. And I love incorporating all different kinds of nuts in my Thanksgiving meals because it gives flavor and protein, it fills you up, it gives you that sense of meatiness because, again, we're vegetarians, so we don't eat the turkey. So the nuts and the really nice fullness and the meatiness of them kind of make up for not having the turkey. Now, as we mix up the main base, our sweet potatoes in our mixer, this is gonna go back into the fridge because we want the butter to stay nice and chilled and cool. We don't want it to get all melty. And if you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner, your kitchen is gonna be hot and this is gonna melt. We don't want that. We want the butter to melt in the oven, not on the kitchen counter. So stick it into the fridge while you're mixing up your sweet potato base. So once your sweet potatoes are done, cut them open because we're gonna scoop out the centers, but they're also going to have to cool just a little bit so you can handle them. So cutting them open helps to cool them and is gonna help us with our scooping. These potatoes are still hot, so I just grabbed my husband's grill glove and I'm just gonna hold the potatoes and start to scoop them into my bowl. I love sweet potatoes. I don't think it would be Thanksgiving without sweet potatoes. To our sweet potatoes, we are going to add 6 tablespoons of butter. This ended up being about 4.5 to 5 pounds of sweet potatoes when I was at the grocery store picking them out. We're gonna add a couple of teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I think that vanilla just brings out the natural sweetness of the potatoes. It just adds something to it. 3/4 of a cup of milk and just a little bit of pepper. We're gonna put the whisk attachment on because I like these whipped. You could mash them if you wanted to, but I really, really like the consistency of whipped sweet potatoes. So we just want to make sure, we want to get a little bit of a taste. It's so perfect, it's so good. There's just enough salt. And the savoriness, the salt and pepper and the butter that we put in here, the butter's gonna make it smooth. The salt is just gonna bring out the natural sweetness of it. It's also going to balance the streusel, which again, that brown sugar and the oats and everything like that, it's just gonna be the perfect combination of sweet and salty. So these are really good, they're really creamy. Oh, I'm super excited about this. Cannot wait. Just go ahead and place them in whatever casserole dish that you're using. Make sure that it's evenly dispersed. If you're like me, one of the biggest struggles is making sure that everything has a pot or a pan or a serving, and I like to use this one because I can just put it right on the table. It looks pretty and I don't have to worry too much about how my table is gonna look. Now we just wanna add that streusel right to the top of it. It's kind of like a blanket. You're covering your sweet potatoes in a beautiful sugar and butter blanket. It's glorious. Now it's into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. This casserole turned out so perfect. It's brown on the top. I cannot wait to just dig right into it to see what's going on. Why don't we go ahead and do that right now and just serve out a little bit so I can show you what the topping looks like and how crusty and good it is. I mean, oh, come on. That just looks amazing. I love that. Oh, and you can really smell the butter and the cooked sugar. I'm so happy with the way that this turned out. And as you are preparing your Thanksgiving meal this year and you're getting your plans all ready and you're going to the store and shopping, just remember that it's okay to keep the traditions of love and beauty and all the stuff that your family shares together, but it's also okay to do things a little bit different. You know, when we first started having vegetarian Thanksgiving, that was very different, but we have managed over the years to keep the traditions and the love, and that's what's important. So keep your traditions, but don't be afraid to change. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. If you're already subscribed, hit that notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload a video. Thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time.